In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 ways in which minimalism impacted my life infinitely for the better. So stick around until the very end of the video. I'll show you around here in my lovely, cute cabin some of the things that I have. And yeah, so let's get on with it. First of all, a quick background introduction. Minimalism. What is minimalism? It is the process of reducing and reducing. Reducing not just material objects, but reducing thoughts, reducing desires, also reducing wants, right? Because as a minimalist, when you minimize, you're basically reducing desires. You're like, I don't need this. I think I'm okay without this. I'm gonna be happy without this, right? So minimalism is a mindset, actually. It's a lifestyle of which you reduce physical material objects, possessions. You reduce mental attachments. You're attached to certain things, and you reduce thinking. So it's really just reducing. Okay, so that brings me to way number 1 in which minimalism impacted my life for the better: peace of mind. When I began to reduce everything out of my life, I started with material objects. Okay, I started to. What happened is I was moving different places. I was in this apartment for 8 years, and I had a lot of things in there. And I decided to move to a small room that was right by nature, because the location was fantastic, but the room was small. So I looked and said, there is an opportunity for me to be a minimalist. So I began to minimize, and I realized, I swear, I'm not kidding, I got rid of at least 80 to 90% of everything that I had in that apartment. Because I had an apartment, you have a big living room, a big bedroom. Yeah, it's an apartment, you have a storage area, and I realized, wow, I have so many things that are useless. So I started into this, removing, just getting rid of a lot of these things that I had. And of course, my mental attachments to those things was challenged as I got rid of all these things. But man, as soon as I got rid of them, I felt this peace. I felt this calm. I felt this simplicity. I felt this profound feeling of lightness, because you're lighter. I'm like, wow, moving is gonna be really easy. I was like, I don't need to get a U-Haul. U-Haul is like those trucks. I'm like, I don't need to do that. And then I started to run through all the loops that if I took all my things with me, my possessions with me, I started running into I'm like, oh wow, if I didn't get rid of all these things, I would have to rent out a U-Haul, a moving truck. I would have to get 2 friends of mine. I would have to do this and that, and then that wouldn't even allow me to move to that place because it was a small room. But I really wanted it because of the location of it. So I began to feel this peace of mind, like lightness, just lightness, man. There's a saying in Fight Club: the things you own end up owning you. So yeah, peace of mind. I just experienced this appreciation for the simpler things in life. That's a big one, because when we have a lot of material objects, we identify with them, and we consciously and unconsciously derive our happiness from them. You see? So I just began to really appreciate the simple moments in life, the simple things in life. A walk in nature. How simple is that? Beautiful, right? When you've got all these material objects that you own, what happens? It creates a pattern where it makes you happy to shop. So people are addicted to shopping. Why is that? Because there's a pattern in their subconscious that says, if you get a new thing, you'll be happy. And you do get the short-term gratification and the dopamine. But when you get rid of stuff, you're basically telling your mind, your subconscious mind, look, material things aren't really gonna bring us all that much happiness. It's just not gonna bring us all that much happiness. So the mind gets a new pattern, says, okay, we have to derive happiness from other, because we're all pleasure-seeking beings. We want pleasure. So when we're accustomed to getting pleasure from shopping, from material objects, we have a pattern, a loop. We can only be happy if we get something new. But when you remove, it's like you experience a withdrawal in the beginning, then the body and the mind particularly says, well, we need a new source of happiness. So you know what that new source of happiness is? Simple moments, simple things, a simple meal, a simple conversation with a friend, a simple walk in nature. You're gonna start to derive pleasure from those moments, and you realize, wow, I don't need much. I'm peaceful. I don't need much to be happy. I don't need much to be happy. Simple as that. Okay? So, gratitude, basically. That's, if I had to summarize this one particular aspect, peace of mind and gratitude. It enhanced my gratitude for the moment, for what is, for the simple things that I have, a simple meal, the simple little things that I own, like a gratitude for a phone, for instance. Because the phone is something I use for videos and everything else. I really like felt this like, wow, I'm grateful for this phone. I really like, I looked at the phone like, I'm grateful for you. I get to make videos with you, and I get to watch stuff, get to watch YouTube videos. So that's number one. Way number two, in which minimalism helped me, help my life, is, and this one is practical. I have to work less, guys. It's nice. It's kind of nice. Because when I had more expenses, because, you know, if you become a true minimalist and you'll even minimize things like, for instance, if you have a car, you get rid of a car. You know how much of your expenses you just shaved off of your bills, of your expense sheet? Now you have to work less, because it turns out that a lot of our expenses are useless. Things that, okay, not useless, a car, you can use it, but it turns out that a lot of, we have to work more to afford things that we don't really need. Isn't that what it said in Fight Club, the movie? We have to, we have to work more to afford things that, if you really break it down, we don't need. A lot of us don't really need cars. Let's just face it here. Some of us do, but if you live in North America and Europe, the transportation system is really quite immaculate. You know, in Canada, it's great. It's where I spent, most of my adult life. It's great. You can get around everywhere with buses and trains and taxis if you need, but you don't need, okay? Yeah, it may take you a little longer, but trust me, man, having a vehicle is like a pocket drainer. So what happened, I started to minimize everything. I'm like, I'll take the bus. I'll walk even, I'll walk. I even took it a step further. I'm like, wherever I can walk, I'll just walk, which ends up ironically being good for your health. And I realized I don't have to work as much. So instead of working full-time, I'm like, I'm gonna work part-time. Enjoy my time more, spend my time doing things I love, going for walks in nature, making these videos. When I started really digging, into minimalism and getting rid of things, I started this channel also back in 2017. I had more time to make videos. I had more time to work out. Back then, the gym was a big thing, a big hobby. I had more time to work out. I had more time to do things. I had more time to spend with my friends, because I don't have to work full-time. I could just work part-time. Because I really drilled it down to the very basics. Very basics. So it's amazing, man. It's very practical. It's incredible. You have to work less. You don't have to afford all these things that you don't really need, or things that you could do without. Even if they're useful, you could do without them. Okay, and you know what happened? I took the bus. I met a lot of cool people. I walked around more, and my health improved. And I just did things I enjoyed. I had more pleasure in my life as a result. Just did a part-time, 3 days a week I'd work. That's it. 20 hours or so, and that's it. I could afford, my basic expenses are covered, and that's it. Go live life. Go spend more time on your passion, on the things you love, with people you love. So practical, man. Minimalism is really practical. Really, really practical. Right? Same, you could apply this to every aspect of your life. You apply it to food as well. So I started shopping in Costco. You buy more for less, right? I'm like, I minimize. I'm like, why am I buying it from the middleman, which would be like the grocery store? My minimalist mindset said, can I just get it more from a bigger source? Because Costco is another middleman, but it's a lesser middleman, let's say, okay? Meaning you can, that's why you get stuff cheaper there. There's other reasons too, but you start to, I'm like, wow, I'm not kidding. I reduced my food bill, I'm not exaggerating here, by about half, right? And I started eating simpler meals also. So that's another way you can apply minimalism. Eat simpler meals. And what that allows you to do also is to enjoy the the simple things. For instance, right now, I'm a minimalist at heart when it comes to eating and drinking. So you give me a bowl of steamed potatoes, nothing on it. Wow, my taste buds are really like, wow, this is incredible. You give me 3-4 mangoes and I'm gonna be having an orgasm eating them, especially if they're really good sweet mangoes. Okay, so you can apply this mindset to everything, which of course leads me to point number 3, way number 3. And this one, I feel like it's gonna intrigue some of you guys and maybe make you want to get your feet wetter into minimalism. I traveled the world. So after moving to that one little room, I traveled a little more. I moved a few more places. I moved out of that room, moved in with my brother. We moved into a place. And every time we moved, I minimized even more. So funny enough, even though I minimized so much when I moved to the small room, when I moved to live with my brother, I'm like, wow, I have so much useless shit here that I never even used. And I got rid of some more. And by the time I got to about 2019, so this process took 2 years. Over 2 years, I moved, I think 4 or 5 places. Each time I moved, I minimized a little more. By the time 2019, guys, I'm not joking. I have actually videos. You can go back in 2019 era where I was traveling in Thailand. I had just a tiny little suitcase, not even a big one, okay? Like a tiny one. That's how I travel. I travel the world. Now I have a few more things, okay? But at the time, I wanted to be just light. And I just got everything down. I'll try to find the video for you guys and post it down in the comments, okay? Just to show you everything I owned by the time I started traveling the world. Anyway, tiny suitcase, that's everything I owned is in it. Wow, man, I traveled, I had fun. I went to Thailand, I went to Nepal, I went to Georgia, I went to Qatar. Where else? I'm in Ecuador at the moment. I went to Myanmar. I went to Oman. And I'm sure I'm missing, Poland. How can I forget Poland? Germany. I went to a few more places also. Anyway, that's beside the point. But you know how easy it is to travel with just a tiny little suitcase? You know how easy it is to travel, guys? You know how fun it is to just hop around and feel like a butterfly? Just, what's the word I'm looking for here? Flapping your wings, okay? Going from place to place, like it didn't matter. I would go, it didn't matter. I'd stay in a place for 2 weeks and I could move at a moment's notice. Just a tiny suitcase. That's it. That's all that I own. Now, I do have more things I'm going to show you because we settled down here in Ecuador. I've been in this place almost 2 years. We've been in Ecuador almost 2 years, so I do have more things. But still, you know, it's still very much a minimalistic approach. But for like that period of time where I traveled, it is amazing. If you're looking into becoming a digital nomad, if you're looking into traveling the world, they come hand in hand, I think, right? Being a digital nomad, being a world traveler, and being a minimalist. I mean, minimalism is really your best friend as a world traveler, as someone who's interested in traveling the world. So that's benefit number 3. That's way number 3. I mean, I traveled the world. I got to see so many cool places. Shout out to Thailand. Thailand's always got a special place in my heart. That's where I spent most of my time while I was traveling. Just because, you know, my heart fell in love. And shout out to Ecuador. I've been here for 2 years for a reason also. I love it. And at the moment, so I'm going to show you some of the things that I have. At the moment, I have more things. But when we do decide to go on the road again, then we'll probably do a minimalist cleanup again. So this is my cabin. Okay, so our place, just to quickly show you here. It is a wonderful place, quite a minimalistic place also. So here we go. Give me a second. Let's fix the lighting. Oh, okay. So that's our place. We have 2 cabins in it, right? So that's our main cabin. That's where me and my lovely lady sleep. And that's my cabin here. So they're a small cabin, I think 3 by 3. That's where I spend a lot of my time. Most of my time, actually. So let's see what we have here. We have a laptop and a lamp. It's not even my lamp. It's the lamp, you know, comes with the place. We got some slippers here. Shout out to my baby girl for buying me these slippers. They're really handy because at nighttime it gets a little chilly. Here's my station. I think I'm not yet teaching, but I'm gonna get back into teaching English online. That's, by the way, how I traveled the world. Is I had online teaching job, which I stopped for a while, but I'm getting back into it again. We have a bed. Here it comes with it. I have 2 suitcases here, so they're bigger ones. When I met Miranda, I bought a bigger suitcase. I had more things. So yeah, our 2 suitcases here. That's the boxes for the juicer. I bought a juicer, a weight scale, and here is basically, so the laptop and basically everything that I own is right here. This is all my clothes right here. That's them. When I was traveling the world, I had half of those. But as I traveled to colder places, I bought more things to keep me warm. And then as we settled here in Ecuador, my lady bought me a few more things. So those are basically all my clothes, all the things. And what do we have here? Let's see. It's the mirror, another phone, a battery for my electric bike, and that's the juicer. I have another juicer as well, so that box you saw is for the juicer, and a backpack, of course, right? So yeah, I had a little suitcase when I was traveling the world and a backpack. So the little suitcase would be half the size of this one. These are the big ones, and that's about it. That's unless there is something outside this cabin that I'm not aware of that I have. Probably, maybe this is like what would be 95% of everything that I have, and everything. We're living at the very end of the town, and yeah, everything. Minimalism is really a mindset. It's a lifestyle, and like, man, you don't have to think about anything. Like, well, you know what I mean, not anything, but there's so many thoughts that you notice when you get rid of stuff. Like, I don't have, if I'm gonna move, I don't have to think about, oh man, like how difficult is it gonna be to move, and it's just simplicity. How we do one thing is how we do everything. If we live simply and the things we have are simple, everything becomes simple. Even your problems, the solutions to them become simple. It's just, trust me, that's how it works. If your mind thinks simplicity, everything becomes simpler. So if your life is simple, where you live is simple, and what you own is simple, how the things you have are simple, then everything in life is simple, really, because you're getting in the habit. See, thinking is a habit. So your mind even just sees problems and sees, oh wow, the solution is simple. Okay? So yeah, that's about it. If you like this content, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.